Welcome to Impactful Billionaires, the podcast show with our very own award-winning, who's a birthday girl today, Nyasha Kuditso.
Yeah, this is a birthday special, isn't it?
It is the birthday special.
Way, but it is my birthday.
So happy birthday, Nyasha. That's the most important news.
Fantastic birthday. And I'm in the King's Cross Renaissance Hotel. I've just finished my lunch and my spa. So I'm going to the next thing, which is my birthday dinner in South London.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's been really fantastic all day.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's what we like to hear. So if anyone has got any short stories to share of impact, please do get in touch at impactfulbillionaires@gmail.com. So yeah, this week, well, Tuesday the 7th of November was actually the Earthshot Prize, wasn't it?
I know, that's interesting. Fantastic prize, isn't it?
It is.
Fantastic fantastic award for them to be celebrating impact and innovation.
Yeah, and it was
which is definitely needed in today's world.
Definitely. I mean, Prince William is at the helm there, and this year it was held in Singapore. So the ceremony was at Media Court Campus in Singapore, and there were about 5-6 winners: Acheon Andina, GRST, Wild Aid Marine Program, S4S Technologies, and Boo Mitra were announced at the 2023 winners of the Earthshot Prize. So that's really brilliant.
That's just fantastic, and it seems to be a real a hub of really innovating, fast-growing tech companies wanting to really change this fight for the cleaner, healthy, and more sustainable world. And Singapore seems to be really, as a country, from what I read about it, I would love to go one day. It seems to be really forward-thinking, and I think it was just a perfect venue for this to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's been lots of innovations this year, you know, from dried fruit to, as you said, technology companies seem to be making a real headline with the space as well, which is brilliant. And they also launched at their inaugural Earthshot event a convening of global leaders, business executives, and climate experts dedicated to scaling Earthshot Prize finalists, climate and environmental solutions. So they've introduced their new pilot platform, the Launchpad.
Well, they were there. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So the Launchpad will connect funders to current and former finalists and nominees and support their funding needs and growth journey. So yeah, that's great that has really come together, so that, you know, they've got lots of partners and supporters for that. So and as we know, Nyasha, that's what you need when you're growing a fund.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then we move on to Liz, our very own patron, Liz Baston. I know she won. She was awarded in the New Year's list, wasn't it? I can't remember now.
Yeah, she was.
By Lord Lieutenant of Warwickshire, BEM, for her services. She really is just such a dynamic woman. She makes me look. She's always on the move about helping entrepreneurs and making the impact and helping them grow. She's really into helping people scale up.
Yes.
And it's gonna be in Warwick Town. Oh, that's where a family isn't. I think that's where she's from, Warwick Town.
Yeah, she lives in Warwick. So the event, the ceremony actually happened yesterday.
Yeah, it happened. Yes, it's fantastic. I saw some of the stuff in the social media, LinkedIn.
Yeah, and our very own impactful billionaire Ian Franklin was there, so that was really good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and
he's gonna go to the Royal Garden summer party.
Yes.
Come next year. Oh,
Yeah,
that is fantastic. That is really
absolutely.
fantastic. Hope,
Yeah,
I hope she'll invite us or save us some of the cream cakes.
yeah.
Those
I
summer
think you will
parties
have
are
had
full of
enough
cream cakes.
cream cakes. Cream cakes after today, won't you?
Yes, yes, she can sneak one out.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
share. She's got to share.
Absolutely. So,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, no, that's really funny. So, no, that's brilliant. So, just a quick roundup on the Stop Human Trafficking exhibition that we briefly spoke
I
about.
know, on the 17th. We talked about it last week,
Yeah.
and it's still in the Soho. Do we now know where in the
Yes,
Soho?
it's from the 17th of November to the 20th of December. So we've got quite some time to
Oh,
go
it's quite a few days then. It's not only one day. I thought it was only one day.
No. So
No. Okay.
it's at 59 Greek Street, Soho, W1D,
Yes.
3DZ.
Oh.
It's open every day from the 17th of November to the 20th of December from 11 to 9 o'clock every day. It's in partnership with Send Them Home and
Okay.
Education Foundation Project,
Okay.
which is, you know, one of our impactful billionaires,
Yeah.
Angus Thomas.
Yes. And what, you know, with all the glittering side of Dubai, you never realize that there's a hidden horrendous thing going on. Really, the dark side of the glittering city of Dubai is just incredible.
I know.
It's incredible.
I know.
And for it's such a fantastic exhibition for to make it public to people to be aware. It's a huge global problem, human trafficking, and I think it's really this. You know, they're calling it the modern day slavery. It's coming in different forms, and we had it in the whatever people being trafficked and slavery to the Caribbean, but we're having it on another level in this modern day. Such
Well, we are. We
and
are.
yes,
And
I
the
mean,
wealth out there is quite shocking, isn't it, really?
yeah, it is absolutely shocking, and it's global. It's not just in Dubai. Every city has got this problem,
I know.
and it just needs to be shared. So I'm really glad that it's a free entry. So if people can spread the word and people, yeah, can come and shine some light on this horrible human trafficking thing problem. It is a real big problem. It's, to me, it's almost as the same as internet abuse, is almost in terms of the how we don't realize how much there is of this human trafficking and internet whatever abuse.
No, we don't. We don't.
Yes, I don't know whether the internet has made it more possible to trafficking people.
Probably.
Yeah, actually, I've never thought about that. It's just something I'm just now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you think about it as well, it's like
People
anybody
telling me
who's
they befriend you on the internet.
yeah, they
Then they
befriend you.
traffic you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Well, I don't think in some cases, I don't think it is that. I think, you know, they go to sort of places, don't they, in Ghana or wherever, that there's,
Yes.
you know, extreme poverty, and they promise them different lives. And then some of these girls never ever make it outside for 3 months.
Yes.
Oh, it's horrible, Nyasha. Really
That's
awful.
awful. Yeah.
Yes, dreadful. So anyway, just moving away from that quickly now. It was
Recycling. Oh, tell me more about recycling your poppy.
yeah, recycling your poppy, which is quite a nice one actually. It was Remembrance
That's
Day, obviously.
fantastic, actually. Yes. I'm always wondering what happens to them. There's so many of them
Yeah.
produced. Mm.
So, I mean, obviously, the Royal British Legion do a really, really good job in looking after our soldiers and, you know, rehabilitation and all sorts of things. and it's just a vast charity. They really are. But now, obviously, they're being sustainable. So it includes your single-use plastic poppy. You can bring it to Sainsbury's for recycling until the 23rd of November.
That's just fantastic. It's for Sainsbury to support that initiative. Every child deserves a loving family, and that is why I founded Banya Fostering, an independent provider, in 1996. In the past 24 years, we have grown to become one of the largest agencies in the UK. We thrive to support carers and empower children, providing opportunities for brighter futures. Have you ever thought about supporting a child that needs it most? So far, we've helped more than 7,000 children in our care. I'm going to visit in a minute myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to see whether I can locate it. So you can also have new free ones.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, you can recycle them.
Yeah.
And get new ones. Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah. No, it's really good. And last bit of news, really, Dingley's Promise, one of our impactful billionaires.
Yes. They're launching a manifesto calling for urgent action to support early years education for children. We sent one in 5 families.
Yeah. With
children needing sent in early years being turned away from provision settings due to their children's needs.
Yeah.
And that is just unbelievable, the level of 1 in 5 families.
I know.
A lot of children are needing this provision. And the sad thing also is that there is such a waiting list.
Right.
For you to actually be assessed of your needs. Never mind the resources. You can wait for such a long time. And, a year in a child's life is a very long time. They can wait to up to 2 years.
Yes. Because it's their formative years, it's when they're need the support as well. So anyway, the manifesto was informed by research conducted by Dingley's Promise. And it was completed by 550 respondents. And it sounds like it paints a very bleak picture in actual fact. And the research found that 27% of settings reported that 1 year ago they were unable to offer any further spaces for children with SEND.
Yes, I can't. It's absolutely unbelievable, and it's really a crisis. And is it you called it a tsunami of need? According to one of the early learning providers, it really is a tsunami of need, and it's really issues about resources and funding for it. The government are really struggling to fund for it, and charities and other social entrepreneurs trying to deal with this matter. There's still the same problem. It boils down. There's too much need and not enough resources.
No. And it does just outline this manifesto that Catherine McLeod's team at Dingley's Promise have come up with. That workforce development, including inclusion training for every member of staff, and they need simple and sufficient funding systems and a long-term focus on securing enough places for all children. She did actually say in her press statement, we strongly believe that unless there is inclusion training for all years practitioners and simple, accessible and sufficient funding streams to support inclusion, the new entitlements risk excluding even more children with SEND. This is critical.
Yes.
It is critical.
So. It's fantastic. I've got a small soft spot for Dingo. Dingo Promise is just a fantastic project.
It is,
amazing work, and offering that support to families, because when you've got a child with special needs, it impacts the whole family, not that's just a child. So if you can find a space, an oasis like Dingo Promise, it's just fantastic to have that support.
Yeah,
it's such a such a needed resource.
It is, and they've got two play centres, one in Reading, one in Wokingham.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so no, it's brilliant. It really is. So I think that kind of like rounds off the news, apart from obviously
It is, yes. We're still waiting for the 18th of December. We're gonna have a Christmas special coming up, and we've got our International Women's Day. We're partnering with Great Expo Business Expos with Alex. So that's really looking forward. It's building up to really quite a nice launch for us and launch for the magazine. And the Christmas, did you say you were going to dress up as an elf or something, Ali? Or Father Christmas or Mother Christmas?
No, I'm afraid I'm not doing elves. I'm doing face painting. It's one of our other impactful billionaires, Z West, who showed me actually today her elf costume.
Oh dear, I'm gonna start looking. I'll find a Christmas sweater.
I've got one of those, but yeah, ask Steve to show you her Christmas elf outfit.
Dig them out. Yes, that's fantastic. Okay. And yeah, lovely.
All right. Well, happy birthday. And
thank you very much. I've had so many birthday wishes. And thank you for everyone sending their birthday wishes today.
Lovely. All right. Well, you take care. And it's a bye-bye from me.
Bye-bye from me in Pancras.
Lovely.
Different venue today. I love it.
Oh, fantastic. Asha chats to Tamsin Napier Munn, who is a inspirational speaker and business executive coach and founder of Raw Talks.
Hello and welcome. My next guest is Tamsin Napier Munn, entrepreneur, property investor, speaker, and founder of Raw Talks to empower women and inspire them to become the best versions of themselves. Tamsin suffered a traumatic childhood through a relationship with her father and went on to stand up for women through her work at the business magazine with the Women's Awards. Tamsin speaks at many events for corporates and addresses gender balance in the workplace. She shares why it is a mission to empower women after her own life experiences.
Yeah. You're listening to Impactful Billionaires, the podcast with the UK's top award-winning social entrepreneur, Nayash Kwatditsa. Why not be part of the club transforming lives and join us on Patreon? If you would like to get in.
Thank you very much for creating time. I really treasure people's time because I treasure mine as well. And I'm really grateful for your time. And I start really about what are you focusing on at the moment? What are you doing? What are you focusing on? So in your business, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so my life, actually, my focus in business is taken a sort of bit of a turn in that I realize now what I really want to focus on, and that's my speaking career. Sharing my stories, sharing the strategies that I've learned along the way to inspire other, particularly women, to find their voice and speak their truth in a nutshell. Whether it's, my background is with the corporate world, and I've been self-employed for 20 odd years, but in that I work with corporates, but it's been a journey of self-discovery in the process, which I'm sure you relate to or understand. And, one of the best ways of healing is to teach what you discover and what you learn. And that is, I find lots and lots of women who've got amazing stories, but they have been taught at a young age to be a good little girl and not to speak up. And I was very much suppressed as a child and metaphorically gagged. So I had no voice. I had no self-expression. And then there was other things compounded on it, which we can talk about. But my focus, and one of the things that I feel is my purpose, comes from pain. Has now become a passion, is a connection with myself, which I disconnected from years ago. And to connect with others and inspire others to find their voice, to tell stories. I had a background in training in public speaking, and so I made it very relatable to business goals, if you like, business careers. Equally for anyone who is feeling as though they need to find something in their lives to find their purpose, is how, once you found it, how do you go out and talk about it? So so speaking opportunities wherever I can now, developing my talks and keynotes, and as importantly is to act as an agent, if you like, for others who want to excel at their speaking career. So I meet a lot of successful entrepreneurs, people, mainly women and executive women, who've reached a level of their career. They want to now give back. They want to somehow share their stories. And yet they haven't necessarily had the skill set or the confidence stand on stage. And also it's much easier for someone else to promote them than and also negotiate prices and all the rest of it. So I'm particularly bad at, well, I generally find it at asking for money. So
women in particular, we find it very difficult.
So I'm sort of got a side hustle as an agency that I'm sort of working with, which means that I'm training some of these amazing women and a few men, I have to say, to discover how to tell their stories, what are the key messages, and then how they can really connect with their passion. So that's sort of a part of it. I'm working with some corporates right now, which enables me to work with some of the sort of senior women on, and them as a corporate on their gender equity programs. So I host forums, I run masterclasses and interview people. So I guess there's a lot going on. I've got a book I'm writing, which is taking far too long. And
Tell me about it. I'm writing.
And I've got events next year that one major one that I won't talk about because it's in the sort of embryonic stage that will really showcase so many women. So I suppose I'm a property investor too, but that's something I love. Property design. I love property anyway, but it's been a feast and famine. I'm now looking for those opportunities to create an ongoing, passive income to enable me to do the things that I want to do, go support causes that I want to support, to travel the world and give back. So it's that filling that bucket, isn't it? No, I should sort of try to fill my own bucket first.
You've got to fill it.
So it's overflowing. I can then have the freedom to go do the things that are really important. So it's Stephen Bartlett. I remember listening to him recently about this. So that's in a nutshell. There's other stuff which, but yeah.
So I mean, I'm always very interested in what people are doing today. To really their background is there a moment, if you think about what you do today and wanting to make a difference, and inspire, the thing you're talking about, wanting to inspire others to tell their story. Is there a moment in your life you remember, did you always want to do this, or is something happened to you that made you to now do what you do, or something which you just developed later on and you had this aha moment?
Okay, what I call them defining moments.
Yes.
Right. So I've had a lot of defining moments.
Yeah.
And it's been a series of them that has got me to this point, not just one at the beginning. One of the defining moments in my life was, remember looking at my mum and realizing that I needed to escape, and I never wanted to be trapped like her either.
Oh, wow.
So it was a sort of, not a conscious decision, but it was one of those that I knew that I just need financial independence. I didn't ever want to be dependent on anyone. And this fear of being trapped, which is what happened as a child, is what happened as growing up.
Yeah.
And then there were another series. I mean, I got into all sorts of scrapes. I ran to London, left home. I kind of got kicked out of college. I was a mess, in my late teens, early 20s. But then I had another defining moment. These are all kind of, I've got lots, but one that Philip Green, who I used to work for very briefly. I was in the fashion trade, so I wanted to get, and it sounds very glamorous. I was at the bottom of the bottom. I was a gopher at the age of 19.
Fashion, yeah.
I was in the rag trade.
Yeah.
So, and I
hard work there.
I was working like 50 quid a week, Naisha. So, cash in hand in those days. So, Philip Green didn't even pay my rent. So Philip Green turned to me. I was sort of hauled in on a few modeling things for Topshop to see me wear some of his stuff that he'd made. I carried with me so much shame, so much lack of confidence, self-worth, that never became something I wanted to do. But I remember him turning around to me one day and said, "Tamsin, if you had brains, you'd be dangerous."
Yeah.
Right. And I remember thinking, I don't think that's a compliment.
No.
And I remember thinking also, I'll show you.
Yeah.
So I'll show you.
Yeah.
And I kind of found myself being able to sell. Realized I could connect with people, realized I could sell. So I went from becoming sales manager of a fashion footwear company, wholesale, to my mother said I dragged myself up. I brought myself up, essentially. I was in survival mode. I have been all my life. So, and then I went into IT, publishing, then IT technology.
Wow.
I didn't know a thing about technology, but I kind of knew how to connect with people. So I got big deals. I made a lot of money back in the late 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
I thought I'd made it, but I was really hiding behind one of those, lots and lots of masks. But I'd found a sort of coping mechanism that enabled me to sort of get on, and financially driven. So I was very much this kind of, just need lots of money, just need to get the money. So, and then, I always think of this analogy of, you build a house. If you build it on solid foundations, that's great. But if the foundations are rocky, then the mortar starts to crack and the building becomes unstable. And over time, and I went to Dale Carnegie, I started to discover that I really clearly had some issues. And I went on a course that changed my life. It was one of the most transformational courses of my life. So it's where I learned to stand and deliver. I call it SAD. And this is what I teach other people is, stand and deliver something, because it builds confidence. But it was the first time I had a coach who believed in me, first time I'd ever been able to express myself. So my career sort of took off, but it was still on the rocky foundation. So there were a number of defining moments. And another one of them, I was flying. I had my son out of wedlock. That was a wonderful surprise, but it wasn't planned. I brought him up on my own, but then I met my husband, whose kids didn't like me. He was quite a sort of staunch Zimbabwean Scottish descent. It's quite tough. And I was his wife. And at the age of 40, I shouldn't have a bank account. I should be looking after his kids. I completely lost my identity. I then brought it upon myself eventually to walk away from the marriage because it was just so destructive for me. And I went into the sort of the menopausal change of life, all at the same time as divorce, and all at the same time this happened. And I had a breakdown. I simply, at some point, you know, the mortar cracks, and it was a nervous breakdown. I was always anxious. Then I went from what I call breakdown to breakthrough. I knew I couldn't stay down for too long.
Every child deserves a loving family, and that is why I founded Banya Fostering, an independent provider, in 1996. In the past 24 years, we have grown to become one of the largest agencies in the UK. We thrive to support carers and empower children, providing opportunities for brighter futures. Have you ever thought about supporting a child that needs it most? So far, we've helped more than 7,000 children in our care.
I ignored a lot of the medication, and I literally got up one day from my chair, and this was a defining moment, and I picked up the phone. I was financially on my knees. I didn't have a track record or a footprint financially. I had my son to look after, and within 3 seconds, I got up and I picked up my phone and I phoned the owner of the business magazine in the region, who I'd known, and I'd often seen. They did a lot of events, and I thought, what if I could host some of these events and get on stage and start speaking? Because I knew that was where I felt alive. I felt as though I actually felt alive. And he didn't have a job, didn't have anything going, but I sold him on the fact that he needed me. And so he said, okay, come in on contract, you know, I'll pay you. They paid me a pittance. And he said, right, we're thinking of growing this Women in Business Awards campaign as part of the magazine and awards. And here's another campaign that you can get involved in. So what you can do is see what you can do with those. So within 6 months of this breakdown, I was standing on stage hosting the Women in Business Awards. It was the scariest thing I'd ever done. And, 300, 200, 300 pairs of eyes staring at me. And all my triggers from a childhood came into play, of being humiliated in front of my parents, my father's friends, the biggest, the shame, everything. And yet it was probably one of the biggest achievements of my life, was to actually stay standing. That kind of set me off in a career. So there've been a number of defining moments since then. That was 2015. Wow. But there have been other defining moments that have helped me to realize actually what I needed to do was to take off the mask. I could inspire and connect with people, but to truly be vulnerable. I did a talk about 1.5 years ago to some amazing women, and I refused at the first to tell my story. When she said, please tell your story to these women, I said, sure, I'll give them some strategies. I'll talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I got up in front of the microphone, and the night before I thought, oh God, I'm going to have to do this. So I started sharing my story, and I was in tears. Everyone else was in tears. It was an emotional connection that I'd never experienced. And I had people saying to me afterwards, Tamsin, I thought you had your shit together. But really, this is really you. This is inspiring. And, I've been put on this pedestal, everyone thinking that I was this kind of successful woman who'd got it all together. And actually, I hadn't, this is me. And so I've now embarked on a new journey of now finding your voice, speaking your truth, reconnecting with who you are. So sorry, you asked me what was a defining moment. I've given you my life story. But,
that's very.
Yeah.
So what are you? So you're now focusing on this telling your story,
Yeah.
and inspiring others.
Yeah, to do the same. And part of that, Nyasha, is wanting to give other women a platform as part of it. So in my academy, I'm going to be running some masterclasses and a program for speaking, storytelling and speaking. So it'll be at a high end, so execs, entrepreneurs mainly.
Yeah.
And the academy will be a 12-week program. And at the end that they will be finding stages. I will find stages for them to speak at. And a particular event next year I want to launch. But it gives them, and we'll document their story from standing on stage for the first time. Hello to their group. To how they then stand on stage. So seeing the journey, seeing the transformation. And it's nearly always, it's not about public speaking. This is about personal connection and development. For so many women who have not necessarily all had abuse or had traumatic childhoods, but have been conditioned and have never really given themselves permission.
Now you need, it's almost like self-care and self-love. You really need to love yourself.
But how do you do that?
But how do you do that? Is, people talk about it, but there's there's sort of guidelines about how to do it. Or people can easily say, "Oh, you need to change your lifestyle." Well, how do you change your life?
Oh, very well.
Oh, very well. But
I think the biggest lesson, or the biggest answer I've come up with, which was actually a therapy session I did with someone. I've had lots of therapy, but it was the first time actually someone gave me the clue. It was about reconnecting with me, being in the now, being aware of all my emotions and connecting with that emotion and understanding who I am. Just that connection, that connection with the emotion, the real person. But you have to do it in the present. You have to be present to do that.
You've got to be connected, not somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's so scary to do, but also very powerful to go through that process. Some people don't want to go there. It's too upsetting.
It's and don't know how to go there.
They don't even have they don't have the strategies of how to do it. They can't do it. They can't even imagine doing it.
You could only I mean, for someone to say, well, just love yourself. Okay, well, hello. If it was that easy, I would have done it a long time ago.
That's very true. That's really true. So what's next for you now? Academy coming up, is it already set up, or is going to come up in the next?
I'm going to be launching it sort of April time.
Oh, next year. Okay.
And so I'm gathering people and I've got a big following around, mainly women who all I know I ran some programs called The Power of You over lockdown, through the pandemic, online, which was really powerful. And I took people through an 8 to 12 week program, which was very powerful. But this is going to be in person, and I will be gradually enrolling people onto it through various. So one of the things that I do, and I'm doing, is interviews, talks coupled with interviews of amazing women who've got a story to tell, but haven't quite got the confidence necessarily to stand up and talk. But I start off with an interview. So I will be speaking and then I will interview them. We'll start to be like a fireside chat. So we start to create the content of their stories. And over several sessions, they then have a coach to becoming more on their feet, be able to talk more. I ask more questions, but they talk more, and eventually, they will be on that academy, that program, to really become influential speakers. It's all about influence.
Yes.
Inspiration.
Yeah, and inspire people, to follow.
I mean, you clearly are an inspiration, and you have great influence.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And you have the ability to, the courage and the confidence to impact change. So I call it 3 I's that I teach: inspiration, influence, and impacting change.
Yeah.
You can do those things.
Yeah.
You can, transform so many things going on.
That's definitely true. It's all about, making a difference, and that's what I feel passionate about. And I like to talk to people who want to make a difference to other people.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. As I said, when Ali mentioned you, I just thought this is fantastic opportunity. I would have never been in your radar for me to talk to you about this.
I think it's amazing. I think amazing what you're doing. I would love to be part of what you're doing.
Thank you.
And it's all about sharing your vulnerability, sharing yourself, giving other people a voice, allowing them to use it, and then showing them how to use it.
Yes, that's fantastic. So, I always end really with the audience sort of 3 wisdoms in your story about what, someone who's listening, or they're struggling, they're feeling trapped, they're thinking, oh, I have a story, but where do I start? Sort of really tips about how they can, within their own situation, because every situation is unique to that person and that experience. Do you have any 3 tips, 3 wisdoms you can leave the audience listening to think about?
Okay. I think one of the most important things is to find someone you trust, who will mentor you, who will be there for you, who is a confident you can say anything to. Absolutely crucial. And to be able to then sit down and talk to them, doesn't matter who it is. Find that person you trust, who's a confidant. I would say the second thing is to take action. One of the biggest confidence killers is paralysis. Analysis is overthinking. We as women tend to overthink, overanalyze, underestimate our skills, and overestimate the risks. So the way to do that, and I coined a phrase, use your sod it button. That's what got me out of that chair to pick up the phone. Was I literally, on your marks, get set, go. It was a 3-second countdown that I just gave myself, and I moved. I didn't let my brain get involved in it. And I just physically moved. I think physical movement, whether it's walking, running, going crazy to music in your bedroom when you first get up, jumping out of bed when you don't feel like it, and doing star jumps, shifts your psychology. But that goes hand in hand with action. Hand in hand with action. And the third, literally, there's no point in doing all that if you don't do something. Pick up the phone, do one thing to progress something, to get yourself out of the situation, getting out, unstuck, which kind of goes hand in hand with finding your purpose. What is it that you do that is important to you, that is your pain and your passion, that makes your heart sing, that makes you feel alive? So find your purpose. So those 3 things: find someone you trust, get out of bed, get into action, get out of your head, and 3, find your purpose. But I wrap it up in all of that for me, is my mantra is speak your truth, live your truth, be your truth. That's the sort of ultimate for me.
That's just a fantastic ending to the story. It's just fantastic to hear the purpose, for example, for me is such a useful thing to have is your driver. It's the reason why you get it. And most of the time when we're stuck, we haven't found that. We haven't
it's called hope, isn't it?
It's just full of hope. And this, that's your driver. That's what makes you your motivator. It's just fantastic. I love it.